No elixirs, no incense, no snapshotting, no shrine hunting or map hunting for specific monster types, no gear swapping, no power swapping, and only a level 9 Tears of Blood is what I used to just solo clear a level 15 Abattoir of Zir. With all of those things, and I'll give suggestions for what to use if you do want to do those, I could see this clearing well into the 20s on Rogue easily. This is the easiest Rogue build to play. I had those of you in mind that don't have unlimited access to Incense and Elixirs. Also, they don't want to spend time fishing for the right map and monster types. This build just plows through everything. Also, I only use the level 9 Tears of Blood glyph, so you don't even have to level up your glyph to use it. So let's look at the build. For our helm slot, we've got Harlequin Crest, otherwise known as Shaco, and we're using rubies in all of our gear. The armor has stayed the same in terms of what affixes we're using. We still want armor and a bunch of damage reduction mods, but we're using might instead of disobedience, and we've moved disobedience onto our amulet slot. This is so we don't have to use any sort of armor potions or anything like that, and we maintain the maximum amount of armor that we need. For gloves, we're running Pestilent points, and this is so we can proc our Bursting Venoms. Tybalt's Will and Condemnation so that we can take advantage of the 22 combo points. The most important thing here is getting that maximum resource to 20. For boots, we are running Tri-Resistance boots so that we don't have to worry about getting resistance in our Paragon board and instead can focus on damage because we really needed damage to push this high and further. And we also, in the same vein as damage, swapped Shared Misery for Exploiters so that we can have an extra 40% damage when enemies go unstoppable. It turns out the name of the game is damage, and getting that extra damage on unstoppable enemies really helps with clear times. And at the end of the day, we had to sacrifice Shared Misery in order to get it. Corruption on our two-hander with all stats, dexterity, close, and crowd control. On our neck piece, we have armor, damage reduction. We've went pretty much all into damage reduction here and survivability with disobedience. And then we have exploit rolled on here. This could be anything. You could get another damage reduction mod. You can get all imbuements, would probably be better than exploit here if we had all imbuements, but I'm getting low on resources, so this is what I have. Bursting Venoms on the ring, and we have crit, lucky hit, max life, and resource generation. Instead of resource generation, you could get crowd control damage for a nice extra boost to your damage. And then Blade Dancers, and here we do have crowd control damage, so this is what I think an ideal ring probably looks like. Crit strike, crowd control, lucky hit, max life, and we're running fire res on both of our rings here. This makes it so that we can put one ruby in on our ring and then 2 topazes, and combined with cold, poison, and shadow on our boots, we get maximum all res. Then, of course, Condemnation to fill up our combo points super quickly, and then Doombringer for survivability at the end of the day. This build uses no gear swaps or item swaps. I'm just showing you the base gear. There's some changes to the skill tree, and I'm going to talk about them all here. We're adding in Caltrops, which is providing us with the ability to chill enemies, and if enemies are chilled long enough, they become frozen. So with that, we can add back in Frigid Finesse, which is really great damage against frozen enemies and chilled enemies. In the same vein as this, we've changed Improved Twisting Blades to Advanced Twisting Blades. And let me explain this one. What's happening is enemies can only be hard CC'd for 5 seconds before they go unstoppable. Well, what's happening is daze counts as a hard CC. So if you daze an enemy and then freeze the enemy, they still can only be under one of those CCs for 5 seconds before they go unstoppable. What's happening is the daze time, since you're dazing them before you're freezing them, is cutting into the amount of time that you can have the enemy frozen for before they go unstoppable, and you're losing the damage boost from Frigid Finesse. So say, for instance, an enemy is dazed for 2 seconds before they go frozen, they'll only be frozen for 3 seconds before they go unstoppable. Without daze, then they can just be frozen for 5 seconds and you get that huge bonus, 30%. Or if you're running Frigid Finesse on your amulet, 60% damage boost for 5 seconds instead of 3 seconds. Other changes, we've gotten rid of Haste and Adrenaline Rush and just added in some more damage where we could find it. Malice, we've got Precision Imbue, we've got Alchemical Advantage, and that is the majority of the changes for the skill tree. Now the Paragon board is very similar to my original board, but we moved some glyphs around and added on some new boards. So since we didn't need resistance anymore on our Paragon, we got rid of Liranas. So we moved control down to our starter board, where you can get a lot of intelligence, boosting up that damage to crowd control pretty well. Here, of course, we have Cheap Shot board with Tears of Blood. This board did not change nearly any. And then we go into our No Witness board with Efficacy. That board also did not change. Now we're getting into the changes. So here I'll just show you. This is our last board, so I'll do it last. But these were the changed boards. So here we're running Tricks of the Trade, and we throw Bane in here because again we just need damage. Really, the damage output is very, very important as you push into the later tiers, and Bane giving us a multiplicative damage boost, really hard to replace if we're talking about pure damage. We pick up a little bit of damage to elites, and then we grab over here, important is damage reduction. So another benefit of the Tricks of the Trade board was that you have access to these damage reduction to close nodes, which if you don't know, you need damage reduction to survive in Abattoir of Zir. Now, we've pushed it pretty far, so our survivability is pretty good, and it doesn't get all that more dangerous as you scale up from here on out. But you definitely want at least this as a baseline. If you're still getting one shot, then you can make some adjustments here in the Paragon board to really help that. So in that same vein, again, Exploit Weakness board, we don't even grab the glyph socket here. We're going right for that damage reduction. I was talking about it on stream that I wanted to work in damage reduction into the Paragon board, and these were the areas that I saw as opportunities to do so. So we've got all the damage reduction from close and then damage reduction from vulnerable. On our way up, we're going to grab the Exploit Weakness because, hey, it's a quick way to get, a multiplicative damage boost, and it's really close to the damage reduction here. So we end up getting damage and damage reduction just from this last board. And then, of course, we have still the Eldritch Bounty board where we're getting a multiplicative damage boost, and we put in our Tracker glyph on this one. Tracker, the reason why we're back to Tracker is the enemies last for a very long time. So having that extended period of poison ends up helping. You can just, if you know an enemy is going to die, you can just go on and move to the next pack, which you'll see that I do. And then also the benefit of the extended poison is that it's helping out your disobedience procs. So it's really helping maintain that damage over time for longer, which means your disobedience will stay at maximum level for as long as possible. Now, since we're only running around 10k armor before disobedience, it's important to make sure that it's as high as it can possibly be all the time. And you don't really come into any issues with poison not having your disobedience stacks up, which is really nice. So how's the build work? Well, here's my footage from the tier 15 clear, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do and how I do it. You can see I have no elixir and no incense running, and I have no other gear in my inventory to even swap to. So controller players, you can rejoice. You will not need it. We go into the pack and we immediately drop down caltrops to get the chilling effect to get started. Then we want to make sure that we have applied our vampiric curse so that we can get the benefit of flowing veins. So then we dash through them with metamorphosis. You'll see that we want to make sure that that vampiric curse is applied to every mob that we care about killing. You'll notice also that this is not a spider map. I really wasn't fishing for maps or fishing for shrines or anything like that. And you saw right from the beginning of the run, I'm not snapshotting, none of that stuff. This is just a pure run, and it is the build shining through more than anything else. My Tears of Blood glyph was only level 9, not even double-digit Tears of Blood. I've been keeping it low on purpose to prove that the best build should be shining through here and not necessarily whose glyph is the highest. I also don't have time to get it to level 100 and something, which I expect many of you also don't. So you know that by seeing this build that you will be able to do it with a glyph that's not that high. So here you can see again, same idea. We're grouping everything up together, dropping our caltrops to get the chilling effect and the damage boost that we get from Frigid Finesse as a result. And then we're making sure we're dashing through everything. Also, in my mind, I have a cooldown. I'm counting to myself almost like 3 seconds to then reapply my Unstoppable through Metamorphosis, which is giving us our Tybalt's buff. So about every 3 seconds or so, I use Metamorphosis again so that we can always be unstoppable. We also get resource back, so it helps maintain your resources. And then also we get the damage boost. So it looks similar from pack to pack. If you're running a spider map, you're going to clear through it so much faster even than I did on this map. So a combination of things like fishing for maps, using elixirs and incense. There's nothing against the rules that says you can't. Use them. Go for it. I think with all of those things and a Tears of Blood glyph in the 50s or above, this build pushes way into the 20s easily. Just right now, you know, you don't have to worry about requiring any sort of incense or elixir in order for the build to function. Like, you already have your max res without an incense. You already have max armor cap without an elixir. So you can use elixirs and incenses that completely just boost all of that damage. And you can use incense that give you a ton more life and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you examples of what I am going to use in order to push past 15. But really, I just wanted to show that 15 is possible without all of the tricks and without all of the elixirs and incense and all of that stuff. So this is the build to do it. So here you can see the damage is pretty nice. We're way ahead of time. And this is not ideal circumstances either. This is just a random map. Here we go through. We really are looking for mainly packs of elite mobs. So you'll see doing the same thing again. Dropping our caltrops, dashing through everything so that the vampiric curse is applied, and then twisting blades until it's all dead. The build is really, really tanky. You don't have to worry too much about losing life, but you want to make a note for like on death explosions and stuff like that. You want to try to avoid it as best as possible. Also, if certain enemy effects are really starting to stack up, like some of the lightning damage can get pretty bad. Same with obelisks. You want to try to make sure that you get out of the way when possible. Moving around on Rogue is a little bit detrimental to your damage, right? Because you're losing a Bursting Venom's pool if you have it up. So you really want to try to stay as stationary as you can, especially if you have a pool up. But you don't want to die. So try best to avoid that really hard-hitting damage when possible. Another point about Bursting Venoms is that when we get into the group, we're actually mostly just using Puncture until we get a Bursting Venom's pool up. So here you see we do the caltrops, we dash through. We're mostly just using Puncture until I see that proc, until I see that Bursting Venom's proc. I'm not using a whole lot of Twisting Blades until then. The benefit of using Puncture is, well, one, you get the opportunity to drop your Bursting Venoms, but also you're healing so much faster with Undying thanks to your Puncture. So you can be healing up really, really fast. You're getting your chances at your Bursting Venom's proc, and you're staying relatively safe doing it by just spamming Puncture. Using Twisting Blades in these scenarios really doesn't help all that much. Your physical damage is, I mean, it's not nothing, but as you're pushing higher and higher, really the poison damage is the important part and what you're going to want to focus on. So until you get that Bursting Venom's pull up, feel free to just Puncture. Here you can see we're getting close to the end of the dungeon portion of Abattoir, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do for the Bloodseekers. And we get to the Bloodseekers. I immediately start running away so that I can isolate one of them away. Now, if you are swapping around your vampiric powers and you want to put on resilience for this fight, you can actually tank all three at the same time, which I've done before. But for the purposes of the video, and I wanted to show you that you don't have to swap anything around, I kept resilience off. So what I wanted to do was just separate one of the Bloodseekers out from the rest, so that I could take on 2v1 rather than taking on 3v1, which is a little bit too much without resilience. So here you can see I start taking down the Bloodseeker. Now you want to make sure that your Ravenous buff is maxed. So it's important to make sure you're maxing out your combo points and hitting with a Twisting Blade as one of your first attacks, so that you have the movement speed boost, and then you can boost a really high Ravenous proc to keep max attack speed. And once you've procced Ravenous at the maximum amount, then all you have to do is keep refreshing it, and you won't have to worry about ever losing the attack speed. So now for these two, I've made sure that I have a maximum Ravenous proc, so my attack speed is very, very quick. 2v1 really isn't too bad with this build. Here I'm using mostly punctures until I get a Bursting Venoms pull up. Then I'm just continuously using Twisting Blades with Bursting Venoms. You saw that even the Mage Bloodseeker went down pretty easily, and we had plenty of life and damage reduction so that we were able to sustain the fight. And here we've got the last one. Look at all the time they're unstoppable. That's where that Exploiters is really coming in handy. There it is. Abattoir of Zir tier 15, no elixirs, no incense. You don't need any of that, just this gear, and we are using only a level 9 Tears of Blood to do it. So get your Tears of Blood to 50, use Incense, use Elixir, use every trick in the book, and you'll clear into the 20s easily with this build. It is that strong already. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and for my next couple streams, I think I'm going to take a break from Abattoir of Zir. It's just not the content that I really love doing. And we have double chances at Uber Unique. So I think I want to just run a bunch of Uber Durials with the community. So get in there. I've got a ton of materials. Look at my inventory of materials right now. Like, I want to run through all of these with you guys on stream. So be sure to come and follow the stream. If you're missing any of the Uber Uniques from this build, hopefully we'll get them then. So I'll see you out there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.